DeLuna Coffee is owned and operated by diehard Florida State fans and boosters, the Lemmix family in Pensacola. So cut them some slack for their Hurricane blend. No green and orange, and it's definitely not all about some random letter in the alphabet. It simply is a blend for those of you who love that strong coffee flavor without bitterness. DeLuna has combined 2 different South American beans with a Hawaiian bean. In fact, the Hurricane blend has won as many ACC titles as the school in Coral Gables. Try it or one of their other 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Promo code WARCHANT15. Got back on the winning track this weekend. Corey grinded up some 1559s. It's one of the blends. It's one of the top shelf cookie jar platinum blends.
Oh yeah.
From DeLuna. The fresh beans. I'm such a snob now. I just stare in contempt at the rest of my DeLuna coffee that's pre-ground. Like, you're amazing, but you're not as amazing as the freshly ground stuff. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source. All the content over there is extremely amazing. Check out the one-on-one and one with Corey, Ira, and Devin Travis. Lots of good feedback on that. That was a pretty cool thing. Well done, Corey. Look at you. You drove it and everything. It was amazing.
Well, yeah, that's right. I got to say welcome in and all that stuff, the stuff I never do. But, yeah, that's all Devin, though, right? Like, I mean, Ira and I are, tremendous people, great at our jobs. But he's such an easy interview and, engaging and insightful and all that stuff you want out of an interview. Polite, funny, all of it. So, yeah, no, it was really cool. Go check it out. Talks a lot about his time at FSU, obviously, his time in the majors, his brother you might have heard of. So, yeah, man, good stuff.
Very forthcoming. That was the best part of it, man. And I want to say some kind of like snarky comment, like, are we really sure he's brothers with Jordan Travis? But then I think about my brother and myself and just how different we are. So,
Oh, right. Yeah, completely different personalities for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. I think maybe we'll get a little more. If Jordan wins the job and performs at a high level and starts stacking some big wins, I think maybe the shell will kind of fracture. Maybe we'll come out of his shell a little bit. We'll get to see a little more of a little bit of the Devin side that I'm sure he possesses. But nonetheless, we persevere. How was your weekend, Corey? How are you right now, man? I just got back from the ballpark. I haven't even really had a chance to check in with you and see how you're doing, so let's do that now. How are you?
I'm good. It was Brady was back at it, playing a little travel baseball. Had 4 games this weekend. So
where at?
It was here 8 minutes from my house. It was the best. Again,
okay, great.
I always stress this, but people here travel baseball. We always play in and around the suburbs of Atlanta, and this one was 10 minutes from my house, 8 minutes from my house, 4 miles. So that was sweet. But it was supposed to be kind of overcast on Saturday, like low 60s, overcast, even a threat of rain. And the sun came out about halfway through, and I'm completely burnt. My head's burnt. My face is burnt.
Ooh.
Not great. Because when you don't plan for it, what are you going to do, Aslan? What are you going to do? I didn't know I was getting burnt, but I can feel it now. Just feel like I'm having hot flashes.
I figured you'd always carry a ball cap in that car of yours. I feel like you have everything in that car for any moment, any situation. You're so prepared. Living that dad life.
I did. That's the thing. I did wear a cap. So you tell me how I got sun on my face. But I did, and it doesn't feel great.
It's those 5G towers, bro. I think it reflects the sun, hits our faces.
You're right.
Trying to hypnotize us. Got to be careful out there. All right, let's start off with some of the bat and ball stuff then. Since how did Brady's team fare? Get some more trophies? Are you running out of room? Do you have enough space in the Atlanta estate to house all the trophies that Brady's racking up from these travel ball tournaments?
Oh no, they don't get trophies. They get if they do well, they get rings.
Oh,
but
right.
his team is they're nice kids. I like the parents. But they're not one of the best in the Metro Atlanta area. They're not terrible. They're not one of the worst either. They're kind of right there, in that sweet spot, right in the middle. They went 2-2. Or no, they didn't. They went 1-3.
Okay.
Lost 5-1. Lost 20-7. on Saturday, came back and beat a team 19-0 on Sunday, and then lost the next game 16-11. So the pitching wasn't great, defense wasn't great. A bunch of bombs were hit, none by Brady, unfortunately, but he had a nice day on Sunday. And that's the Brady Clark update. Made some nice plays in the field. Had 3 or 4 hits on Sunday, I think. But I was really upset with his last at bat. But I didn't hold that against him. I hated that last swing. What are you going to do? You got to be a good dad and get over it.
Okay. We're going to talk about football because we kind of have to.
Sure.
But I think maybe we'll do it later in the show because I don't have anything timely. We didn't mention it at the end of last week because I think it happened after we recorded. But Curtis Fan, I think from the Savannah area possibly, somewhere in lower Georgia. I don't even know if that's a proper term, but he transferred out. 3rd, 4th team defensive tackle to be expected, charged to the game. These are things that happen. Maybe I'll get Michael Langston to talk about the Miami. Maybe I'll do that. Here goes live producing. Yeah, maybe I'll get Michael Langston on to talk about the Miami Rivals camp, some big names.
I was going to say, as we were talking, I was looking at the Warchant homepage, and I see that several Florida State targets stood out at the Rivals Miami camp.
Okay, there we go. So, all right.
Maybe that seems like a perfect guy to talk to. See how they did. See how those future Noles did in Miami.
Okay, all right. So there we go. Maybe that gives us some. So maybe I don't have to shoehorn too much football in here. Although I think people are going to complain about it, but people will be like, "Well, what are you guys talking about baseball for? You guys are a football show." Which is like I get it, but we do realize it's like late April now, and there's no more football going on. So
I like to think of us as people know us, know that we're a beach volleyball show first.
How'd they do?
And foremost, they went 4-0 this weekend. Clean sweep of TCU and Tulane. TCU was number 7 in the country. Not anymore. Not after facing the Noles. And I tell you what, it was good for that team to get back on the winning track. They hadn't done all that well. They had they lost to who'd they lose to? They lost to UCLA and USC.
Okay.
They lost to USC and UCLA. And then they lost to FIU, right? Yeah,
I thought they lost to not directional, but yeah, they lost to FIU 3 sets of 2 back on the 9th.
Not great. We didn't need them to hit a rut, and then they didn't. They came back and won 4 this weekend, so they're right back on the winning track.
I like it. They did it all in Gulf Shores, which isn't that where they'll be when it all matters for the whole.
That's right. Familiar sand. Familiar sand. Get used to the environs. So that's good. Hopefully this time they can bring it home. And now they got those losses out of their system. Maybe that's the wake up call they needed. You never want to go into the postseason on like a 30-match winning streak, right? No. You don't want that extra pressure. No. Like you saw what happened to Gonzaga. Yeah. So now they got that out of their system. Now they can just go ahead and win the rest of their matches now.
What about the Colts? Remember the Colts that one year? Like 15-0?
Sure.
And then Dungy's like, we're just going to shut it down.
No, it wasn't Dungy. It was Caldwell.
Oh, was it Caldwell? Sorry,
yeah, it was Caldwell.
My bad.
And he let them play for a half, the starters. They had a lead. And he's like, no, we're going to shut it down. And it's like, man, I get it. I know Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning never gets touched anyway. And you could even tell him, hey, man, if you feel anything at all, fetal position. Straight up fetal. Go fetal. And but play and win. Try to do something awesome, man. And of course, they lost in the playoffs. I think that was the year they lost. They might have lost to the Steelers that year.
Yeah, they didn't even make it to the Super Bowl,
Yeah, they lost to Vanderjack. Bettis scored the touchdown, he had the fumble that they almost returned for the touchdown.
That year, was it? That wasn't.
I thought it was.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like it was.
Okay,
I'm
gonna look it up.
I could be completely wrong. But either way, yeah, they go 15-1. They're trying for history. And then on the 16th, or 15-0, they're trying for history. And on the 16th game, they decide to rest their players halfway through. They lose that game, and then guess what? You don't even get to the Super Bowl. So fat good that did.
I'm such a bad. I'm failing us. I'm totally failing us.
It's all right.
The 2005-06 season, they lost to the Colts 21-18, but they were 14-2 that year. Was that? But that was Dungy. And they lost. Obviously, that was the second loss of the year. But no, they lost week 15 and 16 that season. So, and that was a year because that was Bettis' last hoorah, wasn't it? Was the 2006 Super Bowl?
I think so. Right?
Yeah. So,
because it was in his hometown. I don't know if you remember that. He's from Detroit, and it was in Detroit.
Yeah. There you go. That's right. So, all right, you can try to maybe at some point in the show I'll go back and try to figure out what season it was. We're talking about an idiot kicker. He's got liquored up. Ran his mouth.
Yeah.
But yeah, we conflated all that. All right, nonetheless, softball, shout out to Crimson Knoll. Tweeted at us, seems like the Lady Noles tuned into Wake Up Warchant last week. Bam. I guess they did it. They skipped in a bunch of home runs this weekend, I think, right? Just home runs?
I think they set a record for the most home runs in a game, a school record. It was like 6 or 7. And they swept, who were they?
Tie single game home run
there
record.
You go. I was close.
During a doubleheader sweep. Yeah, 6 home runs. 6 home runs in game 1 on Saturday.
So they're playing. They played Syracuse, and they swept Syracuse. They were number 9 in the country coming in. So you assume they go up, and you hope for the best. You hope for the best.
Which is where we're at.
They're good. Again, they won a ton of games in a row, which is what they always do. It's what Florida State does, but it's just not the normal Florida State team. But yeah, I guess I should keep down talking their power, and maybe they'll keep. Maybe I should do that with the baseball team. Like, hey, maybe I'll talk about how 0 people on the Florida State team, other than Robbie Martin and Matt Nelson, can hit a baseball hard. 0.
Oh, Elijah Cabell can.
Well, sure, when he hits it, and maybe now moving forward, more guys will actually start doing something, because it is crazy how that offense is 2 dudes. Tyler Martin does his part as a leadoff hitter. He gets on base. He Josh Delfs it. He had a grand slam the other night. He gets on base.
No, he didn't have a grand slam. He had like a 2-run home run.
Oh, okay. Well, either way.
Oh wait, no, he did. I think I take it back.
I don't know. You're really struggling.
This is not a good show right now. I don't know what to do.
But you know what? You've been at Hauser all weekend. You had to deal with rain delays. I get it, man. There's some pressure with that. But yeah, man, when you look at those numbers and how it's 2 guys that are driving in all the runs they're only 2 batting over 300. The only 2 with. Well, other than Tyler Martin that have high OBPs, and the only 2 that have a high slugging percentage. If you took those 2 dudes away from the lineup, oh my goodness, there's nothing in that lineup right now that's doing anything much.
So, I mean, are we at the point now where we're just hoping that they'll figure out a way to get into the tournament? Although after the game on Sunday, now they won the series. They didn't sweep Boston College, so we should obviously preface that. They did win the series. They got 2 out of 3. They didn't win Sunday. Sunday was bizarre. Sort of a confluence of events, a cavalcade of weirdness. Just they kind of had a window to probably move that game up and play it a little bit earlier and get it in, but they didn't. They kept it at 1. Didn't get the first pitch off until 3:30. Then they had a 53-minute rain delay. So I guess at that point you really. And I think they could have called the game, and they played 5 innings. So I think they could have had it official. But I guess at that point, if you're Florida State, you really don't want to wave the white flag because you kind of push to have this game played out. But on Sunday, I don't know if we're at the point now we're just hoping against hope that this team's going to figure it out. But after the game, Meat did say that it's going to be like a really important. This is finals week, I guess, or maybe finals week is over, so they don't have a midweek game. So he talks about this is going to be an overhaul week for a lot of guys. Unlearn, de-learn. I think is what he says. De-learn and then relearn. And I asked him whether it's going to be new guys that we particularly haven't seen yet, or is it going to be the guys that he's kind of rolling with? He didn't really specify. But they got a big weekend coming up against Georgia Tech in Atlanta. So the time is now. They've got to get it figured out. And the problem is I just don't know. He's thrown every sort of option he has, I think. I mean, he's had pitchers out there batting. He's
a lot of them.
He's sat Cabell, put Cabell back, and that worked out. Reese Albert finally got benched on Sunday after his struggles. Maybe that lights a fire on him. Vince Smith's the guy that he pulled out Saturday in the middle of the game because I don't know exactly what he did, but he didn't do something right, and he pulled him out. And then on Sunday, I don't know what inning it was, but he had like a 3-0 count. Looks at the strikes, 3-1, and he swings a ball 4 twice, strikes out, gets pulled out of the game.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And that's it. I mean, he's like, hey man, he's like, I'm going to roll them out there the next day and see if they've learned their lesson. He's like, but I'm trying. So that's a thing too. It's so hard to kind of talk about this team to a certain degree because of the whole nepotism. And then I guess maybe if you look at what Notre Dame is doing with Link Jarrett, a guy that's a Florida State alum that probably wanted to get a look at the job, and Mike Bell at Pitt, but. I mean, I don't know what else really Meat can do, man. I know people are like, well, he's getting paid a lot of money to do more than triathlon, but I can't fault him all that much. But I don't know. Are you seeing something different?
Well, no, look, the offense is. You just heard me talk about the offense. That's an issue, and he is a hitting coach. And now look, I don't know how much an offensive coordinator deserves blame or a quarterback coach. If a QB still keeps making mistakes, maybe this is the hand you're dealt. But these are the guys he recruited, and none of these guys, save for Matt Nelson, who might just be the best hitter in the country. I mean, this is incredible. Imagine this guy having whatever he has, 15 home runs, right? He leads the nation. He's slugging over 800 around a bunch of dudes that are all slugging under 400. It's crazy. It would be like it's like inserting Buster Posey into the middle of this lineup. It's really remarkable how good a season he's having. But Buster had a bunch of guys around him that hit.
Yeah.
He had Jack Rye. He had Dennis Gwynn. He had plenty of guys. I mean, Delmonico. There were guys on that team that could really hit, that were pro prospects as hitters. Matt Nelson right now doesn't have that luxury. There's very few guys on this team right now that are even competent college hitters, the way I see it. And you just look at the numbers, man. Nander is under 200.
And his field and his defense is going back down again.
Yeah, exactly. Logan Lacey, he's had some moments. He's a good hitter, or it's proven he can be a good hitter. Reese Albert's hitting like 176, man. He's slugging 330. OBP of 318. This is a guy that you thought was the middle of the lineup, the thunder of your lineup. And that I can't blame Meat for that guy. This guy has succeeded under Meat. So, you wonder what's going on there with Reese Albert. But then a lot of these guys are either young or they're just not quite developing. And I know Cabell is fun to watch when he hits it, but my man has 39 strikeouts and 73 at-bats. That's more than 1 out of 2. Wow. I mean, it's crazy. So they strike out a ton. I think I looked it up last week. They led all of Power 5 conferences in strikeouts for an offense. It wasn't even all that close. I wasn't looking up like the other small conferences, but I just went and looked at like Pac-12, Big 12, right, SEC, ACC. They're far and away the leader in strikeouts as a team. And the problem with that is they strike out a ton without giving you what teams that normally strike out give you, which is a ton of power. They don't have power other than, really 2 guys. Cabell, but Cabell, yeah. So Cabell, Nelson, and Robbie Martin are your guys with power. Everybody else still strikes out a ton, but without any power. So you're not getting even the benefit of it. And it's just, so I don't know, is that Meat's fault? Is he, is his, the way he teaches hitting or making contact or, pitch selection, pitch recognition, is it not getting through to these guys? It's not like Meat forgot how to be a hitting coach, but for whatever reason, this offense is really, really struggling. And I don't know if it's a lack of talent, if it's youth, maybe a combination of both. But it's problematic. But I mean, look, it's college baseball, man. We can't wring our hands too much about college baseball. They should still, you would think, make the tournament if they stay doing what they're doing. What are they now? 18-14, 13-11 in the ACC.
Probably not hosting, but
no, probably. Well, no, they might, because they just wouldn't be a 1 seed,
right? Because
remember how they're doing it this year is you put in the bids for regionals and super regionals now. And I think they're gonna pick them here pretty soon. And even if Florida State doesn't make the tournament, Tallahassee might still host a regional and a super regional. So we'll see if that happens or not. But man, it's just I was looking at the numbers last week about what this offense will be doing without Robbie Martin and Matt Nelson, and it's inexplicable. I mean, it is just the slugging percentage is like 330. The OBP is like 280. The batting average will be 211 as a team without those 2 guys. They just don't have anybody. And I told you, they're batters 4 through 9. So the last 6 hitters in the lineup on Sunday went 0 for 18. The rest of the top 3 were 4 of 12. The rest of the guys were 0 for 18.
Yeah, but how many walks did they get though?
They got 9 walks, but sometimes you got to get a hit when it matters. But 9 walks is a big deal. I shouldn't dismiss that. Getting on base is the most important thing. Well, hitting the ball hard, slugging percentage, and getting on base are 2 huge stats. If you're going to hit the ball, get hits, doubles and triples and home runs, those are fun. And Florida State's just not hitting for power throughout the lineup. They got 2 guys that are providing all of it. And then, they're striking out a ton. They still pitch well. Although I wonder, man, I wonder what they're going to do with. Does Grady stay there in that spot? What are they going to do with Carson Montgomery because they don't have a midweek game? What do they do with that guy? I'm still really interested in what they end up doing with him.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Anderson's another guy, too, that came in and I think gave
you're right.
pretty good work on Friday and Saturday. I just, there's always a guy, I've said a couple times, just it's with college baseball, it always feels like, at least with Florida State, and college baseball as a whole, I remember covering it in Mississippi, in Alabama to a lesser degree, but there's always guys that kind of emerge in May. So like, I'm not trying to panic here, but to your point, I mean, these numbers, I mean, they've played over 30 games now, right? So you should know kind of the makeup of this team. And I don't know how many, unless Reese Albert figures it out or Elijah Cabell figures it out. And I don't know. I think at this point, it's probably more likely that Reese rediscovers it because this is what Cabell's been, he just strikes out a bunch. When he hits it a full freaking mile. But when he doesn't, it's an unproductive out. So I don't know how much of it you kind of think, well, it's Tallahassee, it turns May, summer, hot, ball maybe starts flying out of there. But if you strike out, you're not getting contact on it. You don't have much of a shot. The one thing I thought that was a little bit encouraging maybe because Tyler has kind of been in a slump and I was thinking about this is that the bottom of the order is so unproductive that other than when he leads off in the first inning of games, he never has leverage at the plate. He's always 2 outs. And then it's like it's 8-9-1 due up and then those guys get out. It's him up there with really nothing to put pressure on the pitching staff with. But I think there was at least 2 times he came up. I think his last 2 at-bats he drew a walk because one of the guys was able to actually, draw a walk. And then they had an opportunity where they had their 2, 3, 4 guys up with 1 out. And those are your guys. That was Matt, that was Robbie, and then it was Cabell, I think. And you got nothing out of it. So
I was just looking at
the
these
series,
stats.
though. So, again, I don't want to try to get too melodramatic.
Sure. And look, Parker Messick's really good. He's one of the best pitchers in America.
Yes.
And Matt Nelson is one of the best hitters in America. So they have some things working for him. It's just and I thought the kid on Saturday pitched well. It's just the pitching staff is doing fine. Sunday I think is still something you need to think about. I don't know if Carson Montgomery, because I was just looking at this, Carson Montgomery, who for the people that don't know, and we don't talk a ton about baseball on here, but he's a Major League Baseball prospect. If they would have had a normal draft, he would not be at Florida State. He's going to be a pretty high draft pick if he stays healthy. He is the next guy for Florida State. Well, he started 6 games this year, but he's only pitched 24 innings total. So he's averaging a little less than 4 innings per start. So is that worth using him for 3 2/3 on a Tuesday? Is that worth not having him available at all on a weekend? And I don't know the answer to that. They got a ton of arms, but they don't have. He is an electric arm, so that's something that I wonder if Meat will think about a little bit moving forward. But what I was going to say is, looking at their offense, they've had 19 different guys start a game this year. I've never heard of that. They've had 4 guys.
He's trying, man.
That's what I'm saying.
He
is trying everything. He is trying everything. He's had Davis Hare start a game. He's had Crowell start 17. Messick started 8. And I'm talking about in the lineup. Garrett Mathis, Ryan Romano, Vince Smith has started 21 games. He's hitting 155. Jackson Green has started 18 games. He's hitting 129. Like this isn't real. This doesn't seem real. He's tried everything he can. None of these guys are taking the jobs. So yeah, it's something they're gonna have to. They got 25 games or 20 games, I guess, to figure it out. But they're still got a winning record. It's certainly not one of Florida State's best ever teams. It might be the worst offense that I've seen at Florida State since I've been well, it definitely is actually since I've been covering them. Probably the worst offense in 40 years. But that doesn't mean guys can't get hot or can't find it. Guys do get better. And I think you're right. I think Reese Albert is the guy. Cabell's going to win you a game or two. Mm-hmm. He's going to find one, and you just got to live with the strikeouts. It's just it's like Adam Dunn, man. You got a right-handed Adam Dunn who can actually run. And he did walk 3 or 4 times on Saturday. So his on-base percentage is over 400. That's perfectly fine. And his slugging percentage is over 600. So he is a productive offensive player. It's just there are going to be some days like Sunday where all he does is strike out. But Reese Albert, man, that's a guy that's been a legitimate. I mean, he won them a game at LSU in the Super Regionals. He's a guy that's played. He's played big in big moments. He's had a ton of big hits at Florida State in his career. He's a fourth-year player. I don't know if he's still banged up from whatever. I think he get a concussion or something, slamming into the wall.
Yeah, Virginia Tech.
I don't know, man. But this isn't the Reese Albert we've seen. They did not go into this season thinking they thought Reese Albert was going to have the Robbie Martin type season. Imagine if you had another Robbie Martin in this lineup. Well, then you're looking at, instead of 18-14, you're probably 21-11.
Yeah,
like that's how big a hole Reese Albert. I hate to put it all on one kid, but he's the only one that's not really of the three guys you knew coming in the year that were probably going to be good offensively. It was those three guys, right? It was Martin, Nelson, and Albert. And those two guys have been great. Well, Ron Martin's been pretty good. Nelson's been unreal. And Albert has looked like, I don't know.
Not all like
nobody. Yeah, sure. So anyway, that's enough about baseball. But, they got Georgia Tech this weekend up here in Atlanta, up in the great city of Atlanta. So we'll see what they can do.
Yeah. What's for dinner tonight? What a stressful question. How about an easy answer? Make things simple. Use HelloFresh, everybody. HelloFresh gets you fresh, pre-measured ingredients and mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip trips to the grocery store. Count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. It's why it's America's #1 meal kit. They offer over 25 recipes to choose from each week, so you can always change it up however you want. Vegetarian meals, craft burgers, even extra special gourmet options. Corey and I are about to get a new re-up on it, so I'm excited to see what I could potentially have. According to Zagat Dining Survey, you get better value. HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store and 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal. All of this without sacrificing quality. Use the promo code WAKEUP12. HelloFresh.com/WakeUp12. They're going to give you 12 free meals. And Corey was like, that's it? They're like, all right, we'll give you free shipping too. And you can kind of choose when you want. You can be like, hey, we want 2 weeks of it, then we're going to take a pause. And then we're going to want another week and a half or so, and then we're going to pause. So you get 12 meals, spread them out as you would like. Wake Up 12 is a promo code. HelloFresh.com/WakeUp12. Corey, are you ready for the newest, greatest segment for Wake Up Warchant?
Oh, I can't wait. What is it?
It's called Forcing the Football, where you and I.
Okay.
So here's the intro music I made for it. Forcing the football, forcing the football.
No.
We're forcing it with Corey and Aslan.
No, I don't like that. Is this going to be how long are we going to do this every day? Every time we do a show?
Well, everything that's non-Renegade Express, because I'm sure people ask us football questions.
Okay.
So we don't have to force it at that point. So
you're going to do that every time?
I mean, I made the song. It's a jingle. It's a thing and everything.
You made that like that was a recording. So that was like take 11. That wasn't just off the cuff. I felt like you just sang that just now for me. But I'll say this: let's go back to the drawing board a little bit on that one.
Okay, all right.
Just saying, maybe more of a slow jam.
Okay, all right. I'll see what we can do.
Let's force the football, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to be so in your face.
Well, it's football. We're forcing football.
Sure, got it. Well, how are you going to do it? I can't wait to hear.
Well, I saw this thread on the warchant.com Tribal Council, which I'm kind of breaking the rules. Sorry, Gene. What's said on the Tribal Council stays on the Tribal Council. It was posted by Big Cleat 42. Big Cleat 42 is a repository of Florida State all-time information. He carries a lot of conversation between now and kickoff with his seasonal off-season threads about let's rank the 50 best left defensive ends that have ever played at Florida State. And he knows all. I mean, he can name like the best 35 guys at every position. But he does a thread called History Lesson. Basically, the crux of it is rivalries, the ebb and flow, the cyclical nature of collegiate football, and to not get so down on everything because, it seemed like Florida State obviously had this thing rolling a few years back and how quickly we saw that go astray, and Clemson now is on top. I mean, it's like 9 graphs. It's intense, and it got good reaction. Scott Aaron, you are one of the best posters on Warchant. This is a prime example of why that is. I wonder, though, Corey, and I don't know, you have more context. You have more perspective, better perspective probably than I do, just by virtue of being on this spinning blue rock a little bit longer than I have. And I don't want to act, I don't want to be all Gen Z because I'm not Gen Z about how, it's different, everything's cooler now. His whole thing is like look in the past and just see the way that, all teams have had good runs and they've lost and they've come around and they've gotten it back. Are we, though, at a tipping point, Corey, where I just think it's probably a little bit harder now to stop momentum. Like what's going to happen to how does Clemson lose it? If Alabama loses it because Saban retires, right? And then they make a bad hire. I mean, I don't know how Clemson loses it because Dabo gets too big for his britches, or eventually goes to the NFL, or maybe does something and gets caught up and he gets fired. Not to say that those teams aren't going to lose it, but when those vacuums are formed, like who's going to fill them? And I'm just concerned about like the dollars and cents of it all. And I know Florida State's done a really good job here in the last 2 weeks of giving fans sort of an idea, at least of their. I don't know if is their balance, if we can see the balance sheet because of all these great plans they have, but at least they've got the ambition to do it. Can we use the last 60, 50 years of college football to judge what the next 30 years is going to be like? Because I don't think we can, man, because I think the money is going to be so concentrated in so few programs that if you're not one of those programs, it's going to be awfully hard to step up when you do get the opportunity to fill in one of those sort of big boy programs in the top 5, top 4 now with the playoff, really.
Yeah, man, but I think again, I don't think you can judge what happened in the 60s or 70s or even really the 90s. It's just such a different landscape. The money's out of control. You guys all know it. I'm not going to – it's just a different sport. It's closer to the NFL. It's closer now to the NFL than it's ever been finances-wise. And, back when I started loving college football, it was closer to high school. Just the money wasn't there, any of it. So it's a lot different. But, yeah, I don't think you can say it's only going to be 5 or 6 teams. I do think in the next decade something is going to be figured out where there becomes more parity. I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm not smart enough to think about it. But it is the people that control the money have to realize that a lot of the country just doesn't want to see the same 4 teams all the time. They just don't, or the same 5. And so, so ESPN, it's in the best interest of ESPN not to just have Alabama and Ohio State and Clemson every year. It just isn't. Like it's going to drive the interest of the sport down.
When the Yankees kept winning the World Series every year, was MLB, were their numbers bad when the Yankees went on that run? When the Braves kept winning?
No, because those are populated cities, right? Like that's why New York and Boston are usually on Sunday night baseball every other week. It's because they know they're going to get those 2 fan bases to watch. Well, eventually, I mean, college football fans are going to watch, but if you want a casual college football fan, are they really that excited to watch Alabama play for another national championship?
Are there casual football fans? Though?
I think the
inherent nature of this sport is that it's so tribal that you can't be casual.
Yeah, but I think there is some. I think there are people that will tune in. I think if there was Boise State playing for a national title, I think that would get a ton of ratings. Maybe more people. I don't know what Alabama's ratings are. I assume they're good. I mean, what else are those people going to do in Alabama but watch that team play?
We got fans in Alabama, Corey. Be nice.
Sure. But I just think that I don't think you can judge. Like going back to the original question, no, you can't judge.
No, you can't.
How the cyclical nature of the sport, as with the context of today, of right now. But that does not mean that a team like Florida State can't get back on top. It just doesn't. I mean, there are plenty. I know we talk a lot about the finances and that they're in the red in certain areas. They are still doing better and have a better chance of winning than 95% of the people that play this sport. That's because of Bobby Bowden, Mickey Andrews, Dion, the Dynasty, Jimbo. Look at how they're recruiting, even though they went 3-6. Like this is the stuff. They have a leg up on a lot of teams. They have a leg. I don't care what anybody says. Florida State will win a national championship again before Ole Miss ever wins one, before Mississippi State ever wins one.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm convinced of it. So, name another team: Vanderbilt, Kentucky,
Auburn.
Auburn. Well, the Auburn.
No,
that's
see,
the thing with
that's
Auburn.
where we get. But that's the thing.
But I think
that's
but
why I'm talking
Auburn,
about
I think,
4 or 5 teams, Corey. We can't compare ourselves to Ole Miss.
But
and
Auburn can
Mississippi State.
sneak in there. Auburn can sneak in there. But I, they do every 10 years they have a great team, and then they go 6-6 for the next 5 years, or 3-9 even one year. But I do think that Florida State can, Florida State will still compete for national champions. They can get back there. It's just a different landscape. They have to find different ways to make revenue. It's terrible for the sport. It's terrible for the sport that one network gives one conference $46 million a year for each team, and gives another conference that's theoretically playing the same sport, gives them $32 million a year. Like I hate that. I hope that gets evened out at some point. And it can be more of a even playing field. But that said, no, Florida State is not on an even playing field with Alabama or Ohio State. Who else? Who else you really worried about?
Oklahoma? I don't know. Oklahoma, Texas,
come on, man.
one of those teams.
Yeah, sure, but what are they doing with it? Like, I still think Florida State.
But they have they're never going to run out of money in Austin, Texas. They're never going to run out of money. Like Florida State maybe has, if Mike Norvell doesn't work out, they maybe have two more opportunities to find the right guy. And then
it's not. No, I don't agree with that. I don't think that if Norvell doesn't work out, that they're destined to be Navy, like a great power from the '60s, and then can't win again. Florida State will always have a chance. They will never have a dynasty again. I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, let's not bum people out too much on a Monday. Come on, be the cheerful guy.
Oh, well, sorry. But Texas has always had loads more money than Florida State. Always.
But now it matters more, I feel like. Or like now you can use that money in different ways that you couldn't before. Or people are getting better at using and utilizing the money to then have it kind of spin off into success, I do think there's a sort of a tipping point, or I can't find the proper term, but like, if you only can afford 10 analysts and everybody else is affording 30, I think you're in a problem. But if Alabama starts going, we're going to have 85 analysts. We're going to have enough analysts that every single scholarship player has an analyst. Law of diminishing returns. That's what I was looking for. You'll sort of hit a law of diminishing returns of where you can only pump so much money into your football team to see like a return of investment on it.
Right.
But we haven't hit that point yet, and Florida State's not in that sort of stratosphere. That's what I worry about. I just feel like if Florida State does lose the fundraising, or not even fundraising, but just the revenue edge, I just wonder how you can make it up if you don't get the right sort of fit of coach. But again, if this weren't to work out, which is going probably way too ahead of it. But in terms of teams that I'm worried about, I don't know. I'm probably more worried about like a Texas than I am in Alabama, which I don't know, probably doesn't make sense. But I just think once Saban leaves, if Dabo doesn't go home, I don't know who Alabama's going to get. And I don't think Alabama will be able to sustain it because I think Saban's just he's that much of an anomaly, So maybe I should look at it that way and then not fear
I think what's really interesting is what the NIL stuff is going to be, what that's going to do to the sport. What schools promote it better, what schools use it better. Florida State got the jump on everyone really with the video they put out, and that's going to play a huge role in recruiting. Bagmen have always played a role. Now it's going to be, branding and how many Twitter followers and Instagram followers you can get and how you can monetize that. But that's going to play a role. And if you're ahead of the game there, you can certainly make up for deficiencies elsewhere, I think. We don't know for sure. That's just me pontificating because who knows? We've never lived this life. I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know how much we're going to have to pay Travis Hunter to promote Warchant. And to admit to everyone how much he loves Wake Up Warchant. I assume a lot, but I don't know. What is it? What's he going for? What's the going rate for Travis Hunter? And is Nick Saban gonna be cool with his players soliciting ads for their Twitter? That's another thing. Nick Saban, does he even let his kids tweet? I know Jimbo Fisher doesn't. Dabo doesn't. How's that gonna work out? Like a guy might be, well, I can't come there, man. I got a brand. I got to tweet 6 times an hour. I get paid for it. There's a lot of things that we had. There's a lot of unintended consequences and things we haven't thought of at all that could really level the playing field a little bit. Probably not. It's probably going to be the rich get richer. But I think a place like Florida State, that Norvell certainly has some foresight here, could maybe make up some lost ground here with that avenue. I know that's not what you asked me, but I just thought about that, and I'm like, yeah, that is. What's Saban and Jimbo going to do when kids want to tweet because they're getting paid to do it. Isn't that a distraction, Jimbo?
Right. Noise.
How tight?
Right, noise.
How tight is that circle going to be, man? How tight can you keep a circle when a kid's advertising for a big and tall store?
Speaking of Jimbo, you see Rashad got a job with him apparently.
No.
I guess. Yeah. I think analyst.
Okay. And for Jimbo.
Yeah. What A&M?
Oh.
You said going A&M.
Cool. Yeah, I meant to mention though about the analyst thing. Like that's another thing that I just
keep going.
think,
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
No, I sidetracked myself. It wasn't you. And you brought me back on track, Aslan. So good job. But like that's one thing that I think again is you have to. There has to be some policies and some regulations here. You know, the NFL. The beauty of the NFL is every team is designed to go 9-7, 8-8.
Right.
They all have the same salary cap. They all have the same coaching staff numbers. They all essentially pay everyone the same. But in college football, which is competing with the NFL and is becoming bigger and bigger, you know, one team can have 35 coaches, another team has 9. It's nuts. Let's start treating college football like the pro sport that it is, and have some around the board regulations as far as, okay, Nick, I know you love having 50 quality control analysts. You get 9. You get 6, just like everybody else. Good luck. Now, look, Saban's still going to win. Doesn't matter. He could have 0. But that's something that I think desperately needs to happen. There needs to be some uniform policies in college football, like there is in the NFL. And I think eventually we're going to get there. I wish it would happen sooner rather than later.
So the NCAA would have to step in, and if anything, they're going to lose whatever limited power they have over the Power 5 or the Autonomous 5, however they want to call it, because they're going to eventually break away from the NCAA, you know, the Power 5. And then at that point...
Oh, no, I definitely think, I think that'll happen. I don't know if I'm going to be 70 when that happens, but I do think the Power 5 will break away for football. I think football is going to be its own entity, but football will have some regulations. It will have a commissioner. It will have people in place. Maybe it's all voted on by the presidents. It's run by the presidents. What is that, 60 schools? So it's 60 presidents instead of 30 owners like they have in the NFL. And they're the ones making the rules.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess this is really, you know, spitballing stuff, but maybe that's at that point. Hey. Because, listen, if the Big Ten and the SEC are going to run away with all this revenue, then, all right, I guess have fun, you 18 teams playing against each other, or you
that's
20,
what I'm
28
saying,
teams
right?
playing against each other. So maybe we'll have to make a concession at some point to make it a legitimate national title to where, all right, we'll do the 5 conferences and but then it's like, man, they're making all this money. They're going to go along like, all right, we won't take
for
as
the
much
betterment
money.
of the sport, because I mean, at some point the other conferences do hold leverage and they're like, okay, SEC, Big Ten, you guys have your own league. Good luck with yourself. It's like, I'm sure there are plenty of Boston fans that would love to just play the Yankees. Oh, that's all that matters is the Yankees. But the Royals matter too. It's all part of the same league. Like, you got to have the Royals. You can't just be Boston, Yankees, Dodgers. There's got to be other teams in the league too. They help you make money. Even if they're not winning anything, they help you make money. The Missouris of the world, I know they're the SEC school, but, you know.
NBA did pretty good with Lakers and Celtics. You know?
Right, but they still had the at that time the Mavericks to beat up on, and they didn't just. I'm not saying it's just a 2-team. You would only have a 2-team league. I'm saying that you can't just act like 2 conferences matter.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? I just don't think
man.
that you can't keep doing that. It's horrible for the sport. It's horrible for it. And the Big Ten, screw the Big Ten, man. Other than Ohio State, they don't do diddly poo with all that money. Nothing. So it would make how great would it be if you pulled all the money together for those power conference schools and Texas. Sorry, Texas, you got to come along, or you can just play in the spring with Jackson State. But if you want to play big boy football with everyone else, there has to be there's a uniform league with a bunch of conferences, and we spread the money evenly because you are a pro sport. Every other pro sport of your size has revenue sharing and spreads it equally. This is craziness. It's like Valdosta High School versus my high school, Meadow Creek, for some of these things, and it's just bizarre. Like Duke, Missouri, and Alabama aren't playing the same sport. And I think that's bad for football. I also know that it's probably never going to happen, man. What does it matter? What does it matter? I'm just speaking out my yin yang. You wanted to force football. You wanted to force football, so this is what it is.
All right, much. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
And I'm rattled. Ronald Acuna just had to leave the game that I'm watching with an injury.
How many? I feel like from April to September, like 68% of the shows that we do, the Braves. You have one eye on your computer screen, the other one's on the Braves game.
And like Acuna's having like the best start anyone's ever had ever, and he's the best player in the league, one of them anyway. And now he's got abdominal pain and had to leave the game. And it's like, oh man, is this an oblique? Is he out for 2 months?
No.
Is he going to come back in 3 days and swing really hard and then be done for the year? It's just not fun.
Nander hurt his oblique and he was only out for like 3 days, so it'll be all right.
I mean, how dare you put Nander's name next to Ronald Acuna Jr.? I love you, Nander, but come on, let's get real.
I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna probably do 4 shows this week, but it'll be a continuation 2-part mailbag. We'll do a live show in there as well. So head over to warchant.com, Tribal Council, to post your questions. And on the way out, this was a retweet, and then we were tagged in it from Jay from I think this is Jay from Daytona. I think Jay Blast 407 is Jay from Daytona on Twitter. But he retweeted and tagged us in a tweet from Sports Center about out of high school Trey Lance, who played at North Dakota State. Out of high school, Trey Lance had 0 offers to play quarterback at a Power 5 school. Now he's projected to go early in this month's NFL draft. And there's a video vignette, like a 7-minute video. Good grief. So Jay just wants to bring that up, which Jay hasn't really talked about Dion come back to Florida State ever since Jackson State started losing all these football games, but we're not going to bring that up.
What's the deal? What's behind the Trey Lance thing?
Well, just I think he mentioned it before, maybe not with us, but maybe with Langston on the recruiting show, just about why not just cast a really wide net? Like, why are you not looking at every single quarterback you possibly can to find the best possible players you can? Which I would say is, well, I mean, at some point, there's very limited time they have to scout everybody, and you kind of know where the guys are at, and I don't know how much. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Maybe get all these analysts, and you can have them scout out the Dakotas and Minnesota and Idaho to see if there's some sort of special talent out there.
Do you think Jimbo Fisher? I'm just using him because we know he has a track record with college quarterbacks. Yeah. Do you think he knows that a kid has it or doesn't within one spring practice? Like not one whole practice, but I'm talking about 1 month, like April.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think by the end of April he would know, man, this kid, he's never going to get it, or this kid's going to be incredible?
Yeah. Yeah. I read the book.
Why not sign 12 of them?
Well, because you have a limit. You have 85.
Sure. But look, here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign. You don't tell any of the other quarterbacks. You have 2 committed, and then you sign, 4 on signing day. So you bring in 6 new quarterbacks. Right. Obviously, you're not going to have a signing class of 12 quarterbacks, but bring in 6. You might find the next Jameis Winston out of those 6. Certainly your odds increase.
Yeah.
You have a better chance of finding it out of 6 than you do 2. So why not recruit 6, especially if you trust your evaluation process and you can see, okay, yep, this kid's going to be it. This is who I'm building the program around. This is my future. And then go tell the other 5 guys, hey, man, the portal is wide open. Wide open. Well, you don't have what it takes.
Then you're not going to have enough depth at your other positions because
those guys leave, there's always going to be
up a scholarship.
There's always going to be a smag or 2 out there that's serviceable.
Well, I'm not talking about quarterback, but if you commit 10 scholarships to quarterback and then 8 of them or 6 of them transfer out, and that's 6 less offensive linemen or defensive tackles that you can sign.
The portal's so open. Can't you get those guys in the portal?
No, because I think that's also part of it's the whole scholarship limit thing about you can only sign 25 guys. So.
Right. I got you. Yeah. Hey, well, it was a great idea anyway.
Well, I'm just
Jimbo, I know you're listening.
Well, let's go to so Rivals.com. Let's not maybe go that far back, but the Rivals.com era begins in 2002. Just think of all the quarterbacks that have won national titles, right? Since let's go to 2006 then. So they'd be freshmen in 2002 being evaluated by Rivals. I mean, I don't know who's it was 6. Was that a Southern Cal team or was that?
Yeah, I think that was Chris Leak, buddy. I hate to bring out bad news, but
I mean, he was a 4-star. He was a 4-star.
Yeah, sure.
7 was one of those terrible. One of the original Matt Mock at LSU. Yeah, he wasn't all that good. 2008, Tebow, whatever. 2009 was Alabama. It was McElroy. I think McElroy was just a dude, just average
guy.
He's
just a guy. Yep.
Jag. 10 Cam, elite. 11, was that McCarron? Not elite. 12, McCarron again. Or they go back-to-back 11 and 12?
I can't remember, man. Come on, are you crazy?
Well, yeah, 12, McCarron. You know, he's in the league, though. He's like a 4-star out of St. Paul's or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 13, obviously, Jameis, 5-star.
Yeah, this is hard, though, because half these dudes are going to be Alabama guys.
I know, but I'm just saying, I will always, man, I get Trey Lance is an amazing talent, and he might go 3 to the 49ers. Or maybe Justin Fields goes 3 to the 49ers. Or maybe Mac Jones. Who knows? It's fun to be a 49ers fan right now. But, man, just Trevor Lawrence, Tua, all the guys that have Baker walked on. I get it, man. I understand. There are diamonds in the rough. There are under-recruited guys, but you cannot make your living doing that. On the flip side, it's kind of fun being a Florida State fan to see that some of the guys that Mike Norvell and the staff are going after, they're going after blue-chip guys. We met Travis Hunter, Nico Marchio that got committed. These guys are 4 or 5-star, Rivals 100, Rivals 150, super-duper guys. But at the same time, they're still getting some guys that are a little bit under the radar, and it'll be interesting to see if they have enough time and patience from everybody to develop those guys. But, man, when it comes to quarterback, I'll always – man, if he's a 6'4", 220-pound dual-threat guy that plays in 6A ball in his state, like I'll take that over a kid that plays 3A ball in Minnesota. I just will, you know? So, Jay, I get you, man, but come on. Let's be real. Timmy Jernigan lines up, or I don't know, who has there been like a 3-star guy that's really not Noddy. Noddy was a 4-star. But like, let's be real with this stuff.
This guy was a no-star, though. That's different. And it's just, look, man, it's hard. Aaron Rodgers wasn't offered a scholarship coming out of high school either, and he's one of the 5 best that's ever done it. So it's hard, man. It's hard to know. It's hard to know that a guy's going to develop and go from a decent to good high school player to a top 2 draft pick or top 5 draft pick. That's just hard to know. And evaluating is hard. It's hard to project from age 18 to age 22. That's why these guys, the really good ones, get paid a lot of money for it. I think the point being that maybe you can find, I don't think you should, nobody thinks that they should just focus all their attention on 0-star or 2-star recruits. It's that there are some guys that get lost in the weeds and they end up being awesome. Yeah. And, I assume the point is that Florida State could still find some guys, even if they're 2 or 3-star guys, that end up being great. Right?
I guess.
But you can't recruit like that. You're in quarterback recruiting in itself. It's not like you can't cast a wide net. You can only bring in 2 at the most, and one of them's leaving. So it's you can't really cast a wide net when it comes to quarterbacking. You take 2 that you like. You trust your evaluation. You trust your eyes, and you go from there and you hope. A lot of it's not luck, because luck implies that it's just a roll of the dice. It's not. The guys that continually win get good quarterbacks and evaluate well, but sometimes you could be fortunate that a guy that you thought, like Christian Ponder, he signed with Florida State more as a legacy. Yeah. It turned out he was a first-round caliber quarterback. Well, maybe second-round caliber quarterback, but it was drafted in the first round. It was a very good college quarterback. Florida State got fortunate there. He wasn't being recruited by Alabama and Texas and Ohio State. So, anyway.
Jimbo Fisher on Rashad Green.
Hey, the Cubs, I don't understand what's going on, Aslan. I don't care. They just hit Dansby in the wrist after Acuna had to leave the game because the guy kept throwing over to first and he kept having to dive back. Yeah, I'm blaming Hendricks for that. And then they hit Dansby in the wrist. He goes down in a heap. Then they just hit Riley for the second time. They knocked Albies out of the game Friday by hitting him in the knee. I'm tired of this. What's going on? This is David Ross.
Yeah, man.
This is Tallahassee's own. And he's a former Brave. And they're just headhunting. Sick of it. Let's get it together, Rossi.
All right. With that said, we're done then.
Okay.
Again, we'll drop 3 more shows this week. We'll do a live show probably on Tuesday, and then we'll follow the Renegade Express either Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday. So we'll rock and roll. Again, check out HelloFresh. Use that promo code WakeUp12, HelloFresh.com/WakeUp12. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Stay connected to WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminoles sports source. You have been listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.